Hi, my name's Andre Kent Jr. Most people know me as AJ Kent. And I came to talk to you a little about the Achievers Report, which I call the Homage Network. Okay, the Achievers Report sits here at the umbrella, and the Homage Network sits under it. It's a huge umbrella. So, what I decided to do with the Achievers Report, I had so many accomplishments and wins and trophies from back in 2009 through 2013. And and in my head it was like I was working so hard and working, and it felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. Why? Because after high school I kind of wanted to start over a little bit. So I didn't want to completely start over, but I wanted them to pay some homage and respect to those championships and those titles and those national achievements as well as the state achievements. Most people, they assumed that I'd be headed out to Europe or, headed around the globe or something. No, but I chose to stay around. I'm working in the Research Triangle right now. I'm up there at Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. But I went kind of everywhere over the last few years. I kind of went all the way to the other side of the country and saw what was out there. Went to the other side of the world and saw kind of some of the stuff that was out there. Kind of organized my portfolio, which is the homagenetwork.weebly.com. Notice that I've moved ajkentinspired.weebly.com because what I wanted to do was create the Homage Network and create it in a way that my friends and family and the crew and the squad, I want to make sure that plenty of them eat off of it, plenty of them build off of it. And yeah, I'm one person that's probably worth that much, but with them added to the portfolio, it's like such a warming experience and a warm, inviting experience. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what I was doing back in those days. But I was doing a lot, and it's not about cannabis, of course. The Achievers Report is about championships and titles. I had state championship, first place, in virtual business, or you can call that just a state championship, in virtual business with Future Business Leaders of America, state championship with same Future Business Leaders of America, Phi Beta Lambda, first place with parliamentary procedure. We had one second place in parliamentary procedure with the Achievers Report. In HOSA, I count our one loss as a win on my side in the Nationals. I count public service announcement as a win in my book, regardless of, it was a time discrepancy, but I still mark it as an achievement in my book. Then we have HOSA, where we're actually still alumni. I had one national internship with Future Business Leaders of America, Phi Beta Lambda, also where I was the president, senior class president, 2013. And I had so many organizations and stuff that I worked for in high school between 2009 and 2013, alongside getting volunteer and service hours, which I'm a top grosser in volunteer and service hours. Still am a top grosser in volunteer service hours. That's at Pitt County Health Sciences Academy and Pitt County Teen Court, MCEC, Eastern AHEC. Shout out to everybody that was doing the student organizations and doing the actual volunteerism and everything through Vidant Medical Center, originally University Healthcare Systems, and then before that Pitt Memorial Hospital, so it's grown a long way. And with the Homage Network, I kind of wanted to bless my friends back, bless my parents and family, and and that of the advisors and those students that actually traveled with us and everybody who helped us with the portfolio. So I chose to make a more philanthropic, scholarshiply type portfolio, and I called it the Achievers Network because we're still making achievements, we still have trophies, but over the long term, we did the estimate, and I'm probably at $3,200,000,000 or more, depending on how those championships are growing. Because, like I said, I started over when I got out of high school, and I have my own company and ventures and stuff. But something told me to go and see how much I'm worth with the state. And what I did was I calculated all my financial calculations of how many hours I spent as senior class president, putting together portfolios, putting together the executive board, putting together all of the requirements up under a 501c3 organization like Future Business Leaders of America, Phi Beta Lambda. Shout out. Shout out to everybody at Duke. I'm wearing Duke right now. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to East Carolina University, Aidan Griffin High School. Shout out to Pitt County School. Shout out to Conley, J.H. Rose. Shout out to North Pitt. Shout out to Farmville. Shout out to everybody that's doing their thing out here. Shout out to Green Central. Shout out to South Central. Everybody at this day and age. Because in this day and age, I'm 26. Out of college. I've got my associates of applied business, and working on the difference in the gray lines with my associates of arts, because with me having that much power and that much influence, it influences a lot of my decisions sometimes. So I decided to make the Achievers Report more public for everybody's access and for everybody to see it. Shout out to Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan and the UNC Museum that is out there in the triangle where we're currently working at, in the research triangle. I've been out there before. Go check Facebook. We love actually bringing light to a lot of the things that come out of North Carolina, and Apple's also coming to North Carolina. So with the Achievers Report, I wanted to make it clear that I wanted all of those stats and stuff out there as approximates, and where I'm going from there. Back in the day in 2013, that was like 9 years ago. Our decade album is coming up for everybody. We're on our decade portion. So shout out to the crew, shout out to the squad, shout out to everybody, shout out to all my friends, everybody worldwide, shout out to our family. But what we wanted to do was set a precedent on our side. National Honor Society, National Junior Honor Society, CTE Honor Society, FCCLA, Key Club, all these volunteer and service organizations. We wanted to actually bring some life back to it and bring life to our alumni foundation, and kind of work in our alumni foundation and host it as a lifetime membership. We love being in Phi Beta Lambda, working up towards them now, and different organizations that we want. But I decided to come backwards, in my adult catalog, where if I had to go get a job or establish a career, I chose more of a chief executive officer and general manager, chief operational officer jobs and stuff, where I'm asking them from anywhere from a few, depending on what the job is and how passionate I am about it, anywhere from a couple $1,000,000 a year up to $100 million a year, up to $1 billion a year. For it depends on what company I'm at, what is the project, what's the program, and how much of my time has got to be invested and involved. So I've been negotiating with a lot of people, because I could always get a degree and go back to the hospital and work, but I wanted on the homagenetwork.weebly.com. I wanted y'all to see some of our achievements and accomplishments back in the day, where there are plenty of them had in my portfolio that are currently, they're not waitlisted, they're shooting up the top of the list, to where they want different career opportunities, and they want to be able to negotiate their contracts. They want to be able to negotiate their career positions depending on who they are and how they know me, myself personally, and how they know some of our advisors and some of our teams. So I thought it was important. Shout out to Miss B, shout out to Rodney out there at ECU, East Carolina University, shout out Clement Hall, shout out West End. I love shouting out my teams, and shout out all my teams ever. Shout out Boston, shout out New York, shout out Philadelphia, shout out Virginia, shout out South Carolina, shout out Los Angeles, shout out California, shout out Texas, always shout out Texas, shout out San Antonio, Anaheim. Thank you for everybody that played a part in our portfolio. You're worth more than you think you are. So let me talk about a little bit about the biography and what's going on. With the biography, I just call it the biography, and I wanted to treat it something like a HBO special. They wanted to get into the film industry, and they wanted to kind of touch into the film industry. Some of my friends and family, and I ain't really like all that fame and stuff like that. I wanted fame just to get my profit dividends and to stay safe out there. So people know who I am, and I'm a familiar face in the community, not more so that I'm hunting fame or anything, but so with the biography, Now that biography is older than anybody that's alive today. It's more fan fiction, more, you know, it allowed and opened up so many doors for places like Barnes and Nobles to come in, or the Smithsonian and stuff, the Great Blacks and Wax. It opened up the doorway for a lot of them to come into there, read it, and kind of separate a lot of the portions of it so they can actually make more movies and stuff out there, because streaming wars have started. All the streaming wars have started, and they're making profit dividends off of it. So we should be no exception to that rule. They're making profit dividends off of our lives and our tales and our stories. So I had to get in there and throw some little dark tales in there, because I really do want that Italian castle. We want that Italy castle to flex to America, but we don't want to be directly involved in the population of Italy, except where we're actually investing into the community and spending in the community. We don't want control over Italy and Rome. We just want to be noticed, and we want our presence felt over in that area. So I decided that I wanted to go build a castle out of it. But with the biography, a lot of that stuff is older than I am. But with the biography, I wanted to actually put myself in that position a little bit, and I think more HBO Succession, that type of movie, film fiction. With HBO Succession, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of between them and Empire. There's a lot of drama, a lot of different sides. There's different racial tones to different situations, and it's one big, large family. And I wanted to, with the biography, with just my family themselves, I didn't feel like I owned anything up until probably 2011. That's probably when I felt like I started actually getting paid to an extent. Not really financial pay, but credibility and homage that was starting to get paid towards myself personally. Not really my parents and family and everybody who was throwing in. So I came up with a crafty little tale, about, the homage biography. And it's not a lie, but it's more of fan fiction, and it's more of legacy planning and stuff, to where it'll build $100 million museum or something like that, to where we could do stories like HBO Succession and stuff. You seen when Taylor Swift dropped her shout out Taylor Swift, her video about her whole, she did a tour on HBO that was available on Netflix, stuff like that. And Homecoming, Beyonce, shout out to Beyonce Knowles, shout out to Beyonce, shout out to the B, she did her HBO series with the Homecoming, and then she dropped her album, and now we're starting to buy vinyls and stuff. We want the actual vinyls, and it's the millennial generation that's pushing the Achievers Report, because there are so many of them that are still adding, and eventually they're going to be able to add their own videos and stuff to the Achievers Report. So I wanted to go ahead and get the ball rolling. And so with the biography itself, we had to know some of the key people doing stuff, and now some of them are older than I am. They're going to tell a different story than what I can tell. I can give you a general ruling about it, from a higher education standpoint, but with the biography, there are so many different tales and so many different stories between people's families and grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and all that stuff, all the way through Ancestry.com and stuff, that part of it got over to the Queen, what I was trying to do, trying to get it so it wasn't organized enough to where I could not just, it's organized enough for me to have sent out something versus what can be afforded at the moment, if that makes sense. So I sent out what I sent out, and it might have looked like it unfolded sloppily, but it's more the formalities and pinpoints and the accuracy of the portfolio that we were more going for. And I went ahead and sent it out anyway. That way my boss knows that I sent it out on my other companies and stuff. But that's more about the Achievers Report. And thank you for the update.